All right, welcome back in here, Morning Kick Around. We are going to start our last segment of the day, Culture Wars here on Morning Kick Around. The decision from Captain America, Christian Pulisic, to not join the team just kind of escalated this week with some prominent figures, Tim Howard and Landon Donovan, saying, kind of calling Christian out for not coming. And then Christian Pulisic going on the CBS Galazzo show earlier in the week, I think yesterday or the day before, saying that, Howard and Donovan out of line, saying his heroes are overly critical, and that, kind of threw it in the face that Donovan once took a famous hiatus from soccer. So as this spills into the start of the Gold Cup, we also learned that Christian was going to come for these, was open and willing to join the team for the Switzerland and the Turkey exhibition matches, but Poch wanted an all or nothing commitment. So where are we at? Pros and cons to both. Plenty to talk about. Where are we kind of lying here, Mr. David?
Pros and cons. There's pros and cons to this. I don't know about that.
Or like, there's two sides to this conversation, and really, right? So it's are we? I mean, he's getting lambasted by the talking heads of American soccer, and in the comments, I see mixed. I see people like, let the guy rest if he's hurt. I mean, we're always gonna cherish a World Cup performance more than a Gold Cup performance. But then there's the other side of the coin where people are saying the men's national team is in a state of crisis and they need their best player and their captain.
Okay, so I'm kind of over the fact he said he doesn't want to play, or he asked for to have the summer off. I mean, I was initially frustrated with that choice because I see a ticking clock when it comes to the U.S. men's national team in a home World Cup. And I, as a fan who has no real control over anything that happens, and yes, I have maybe a louder voice than some people do in American soccer, I still feel like a helpless fan in the sense that I can't make it be good for 2026. And so I'm feeling that pressure, right? We talked earlier in the show how pretty much the rest of America doesn't know the World Cup's coming, but soccer fans certainly do. And we certainly feel that pressure. And we recognize how transformative a World Cup on home soil could be. And in order for the World Cup to be the most transformative possible, the U.S. men's national team has to put in a good performance. We will capture more attention. We will get more soccer fans made. We will build more things. We'll all get paid more to be involved in soccer if the U.S. men's national team does a good job and reaches a good level, goes deep in that tournament next year. So I saw Pulisic's decision not to play this summer in that light as potentially harming the World Cup campaign in 2026. But I've been told by people, and I work with one of them, a former U.S. international who played in Europe and had to come back for summer tournaments, and Eric Winalda. I've heard, this is fine. He needs to take this time off. Okay, fine, whatever. The man knows his body. And then once we knew, look, there was not going to be a Weston McKennie. There was not going to be a Tim Weah. But once we knew that Dest wasn't going to play anymore, and Janae Robinson was having surgery, and some of these other guys were not got Fowler and Balogun had to pull out. There was no Ricardo Pepi. It kind of felt like, okay, this team is not going to be what I wanted it to be in the first place. It's fine if Christian Pulisic is not fine on some level. But it was a guarantee. It was only going to play out in a way that some people had critical things to say about his choice. And yeah, some of those people happen to be former national team players who are now paid to have an opinion. And keep that in mind. There's an incentive for people to go and say things about Christian Pulisic's decision. And guess what gets more heat around it? Saying, is there more heat? Is there more interest? You get more attention if you say, well, I completely understand his decision. Christian's a guy who, has had injuries in the past and he's played a lot of games. I get it.
So you're saying that internet culture and YouTube goes more on the extreme takes and not the measured and understanding views?
Hot take culture is obviously a thing, and it's a factor in this. So I think, and look, we'll get to what he actually said. He said it was out of line, way out of line. First of all, no, Christian, it's not. It's not way out of line.
I think he clarifies that it was like said confidentially, like DMs and stuff. They were understanding, but once they went on a public, their show, then tune changed. I think that was the out of line.
Well, he certainly was intimating that there are hypocrites in American soccer. He was saying that. Now, but again, him saying that that people questioning his commitment to the national team was way out of line. It's not. This is exactly what this game is. This is exactly what the international version of the game is. This kind of push-pull. Is it patriotism? Is it nationalism? Is it just sports? It's all wrapped up. This is a very complicated environment in which we support our national teams. You cannot uncouple this thing of like, are you a real American? If you don't show up for your national team, you're not. That's just going to be the way some people think. Now, you may think they're wrong, but that's your opinion. There is no black and white here. So I don't think it's out of line for people to question his criticism. He can be upset by it, and he can push back if he wants, although I do think that this was a mistake, Rob. I don't think he should be speaking publicly about this. First, I don't think his dad should have did what his dad did on Instagram, and I don't think it was necessary for Christian Pulisic to go on, call it what you want, which, by the way, by that choice sends a signal, because maybe while Jimmy Conrad and Charlie Davies and to a lesser extent Tony Meola said some things about Christian not playing in this Gold Cup and sitting out the summer, when they get him on the show, are any of them going to be directly critical or directly challenging Christian Pulisic on this? No. This is softball city, right? And I look, some of those guys I know, and I'm sure they would be upset if I was saying this, but if they knew I was saying this, but I don't think that this was the right environment. It doesn't make it look like you're really addressing this. It makes it look like you're going in and trying to massage the narrative. And to me, that is naive because you're not winning this game. This is not Streisand effect, but it has that character of Streisand effect. By talking about it, you actually make it worse, Christian. That's my thought. I don't know how you feel about this.
Well, the one caveat I thought was interesting, the most interesting part of his appearance on that show was that he said that he wanted to be in there in the camp for the warm-up friendlies, but then take his rest during the Gold Cup itself. And then that Pochettino gave him like kind of an all or nothing sort of a response. And then he went on to say, I don't regret it. So I'm glad as a leader in a way he stuck to his decision and didn't get wishy-washy. Like, oh, maybe maybe he didn't go back on his word. And it's interesting that Pochettino said all or nothing. That decision, I don't know if that's good or bad. It seemed like having Christian Pulisic in and around the team to maybe show his leadership without having to use his body might have been a middle ground that they could have talked about.
No coach likes that idea. No coach is on board with that. Like nobody wants a guy who's not playing to be hanging around. They make that's a dynamic that is too difficult, I believe, in order to properly look. And I respect Pochettino's position on this. Again, as a fan, it's easy for me to say, well, let's get as many of the best guys as possible to play at least some games in this window. Again, with the World Cup coming next season. Again, my issue isn't necessarily that he's taking the summer off. Because if the choice, and we don't know if this binary is true, but if the choice is he sits out this year in the summer and he's better for the World Cup next year, he puts in an excellent performance in the World Cup next year, I would take that in a second.
I think yeah, if we could fast forward to like next August and the United States have had an amazing World Cup performance, no one's going to remember this at all at this moment right now.
Right, clearly. But if he obviously doesn't, if the team doesn't look good and he doesn't play well, then this is going to be something people talk about. And again, this is about commitment. And you're if the U.S. men's national team had any positive vibes around it at all, if they had come out of the Nations League going, hey, that was pretty decent, or maybe we didn't win it, but we put in a good showing, or we made a final, we lost to Mexico in a tough one, there wouldn't be this kind of energy about Pulisic's choice. It wouldn't feel the same. It feels big. It feels important because we don't have any positive information about the direction of this team, Rob.
Is Pulisic's dad slipping into the Reina meddling soccer parents sphere here?
He was already there. You just didn't hear about him as much. Trust me. He was already there. At least in the sense that, again, he's a public person and he kind of is out public alongside Christian. He was a major part of the documentary that appeared on Paramount Plus on Galazzo. I mean, I think they're obviously allowed to be close, and I don't begrudge Mark Pulisic the right to defend his son. I just don't think he did it the right way. And again, I know it's hard. Everybody wants to get out there and defend themselves, but you are fighting an uphill battle. You are not going to change everybody's minds. And you walk yourself into potentially the way that Pulisic carries himself. And this is unfair, right? Body language is a tough thing, but the way he talks, the way he carries himself, the things he sometimes says and the way he says them do not come off real good. They don't come off, they don't make him look good. And I don't want to hate Christian Pulisic. And I don't think he doesn't care. I'm not out here saying he doesn't care about the national team. I think he very much does. And again, if you want to make this argument, and maybe somebody around him was saying, this is the best choice for your body. Of course, he did take it on himself. Then okay. But this is not it. Take your summer. If you're taking the summer, take your summer. The team is playing games. They got a Gold Cup game on Sunday. If you're not there, you're not part of the team. Don't be part of the conversation. Step aside. Go play golf. Do whatever. We don't need to see you because it makes it worse, not better.
It's funny that you mentioned golf, was because I was scanning the news there earlier, and he's got the paparazzi on his tail now that he kind of got himself front and center, that there is paparazzi following around with him and his girlfriend at the golf course this morning. So he's definitely stepped into that world if he wasn't there already. And you're talking about the way he talks about things, and it doesn't like ingratiate himself. Do you think that's just kind of like a lack of depth of character, perhaps? Like he's just like, he's got the one function on his mind. He wants to be a great soccer player. Every decision is based on, is this good for soccer or is this bad for soccer? And then, conversation and communication is just completely
I don't know. That is beyond my level of expertise. I'm not going to psychoanalyze the guy. I'm just saying that based on the actions he's taken, this is not making him look good. And that's the bottom line for me. And I think that sucks because he is our best player. He is the star of the U.S. men's national team. I don't know that I want to demand that he be a more gregarious, outgoing, personable guy, because that would be better for American soccer. It'd be nice. It's not his fault he is who he is. He can be Christian Pulisic. If he's playing soccer at that level, I'm thankful for that. I don't need more necessarily, but don't make it worse. Right? Acknowledge where your shortcomings are, and your shortcomings seem to be in the fact that people perceive you to be, I don't know, this kind of hard to understand guy. He's aloof. He's quiet. I can tell you, being a very shy kid, that people take shyness and treat it as like you think you're better than everybody else. And I think sometimes that's how Pulisic comes off. And certainly this choice doesn't help. So again, you already have this perception about how you carry yourself. You're already not a guy people can connect with. You've got certain people in the American soccer fan base, not everybody, but certain people upset at you because of some dancing you've done and some other things. Like, don't make it worse. Don't make it worse.
A Christian Pulisic free United States men's national team kicks off the Gold Cup on Sunday in San Jose. So we shall see how this all pans out. If you're watching this now, thank you so much. And if you're watching this now and it doesn't hit subscribed at the bottom of the screen, if it doesn't say that, make it say so now. Hit that button. Become part of the MK Ultra movement. Take it a next step farther and become a member. A $3.99 per month memberships gets you early access to videos, gets you bonus content, access to the Discord that has channels for conversations on local, national MLS, and international tournaments. So lots of places to have soccer conversations there. You can also follow us on social media at MKickaround X, Instagram, Blue Sky. Write us a note. We've got some good ones at morningkickaround@gmail.com. You can also support us with a little dinero on coffee.com/morningkickaround. There you can make up your own donation amount and schedule. So thank you for all who have donated there and become a member. A weekend of soccer ahead. You've got visitors, a lot of great stuff coming up. You got any final words before we depart the show this week?
Look, no matter what we just talked about, I'd like the United States to win the Gold Cup. So let's get off to a good start against Trinidad and Tobago. And fascinating weekend. And we'll have a lot to talk about on Monday. Looking forward to it.
All right. Until Monday, everybody, please enjoy your soccer.